Are you ready to ace the AWS Certified Developer Associate exam? One wrong move in your deployment strategy or security configuration can cost you the certification. In this video, we will cover AWS Certified Developer Associate DVA-C02 practice exam questions and answers. Prepare for the AWS Certified Developer Associate DVA-C02 exam with this comprehensive mock test. In this video, we go through 30 high-quality, exam-accurate questions covering the DVA-C02 domains. Development with AWS services, security, deployment, and troubleshooting. Make sure to grab a notebook, pause before each answer, and let's see how many you can get right. A developer is creating a script to upload large files to an Amazon S3 bucket. The developer wants to optimize the upload performance and ensure that the upload can resume if a network error occurs. Which approach should the developer use? Option A. Use the S3 Put Object API with a single request. Option B. Use the S3 Multipart Upload API. Option C. Use the S3 Transfer Acceleration with Standard Put Object. Option D. Use AWS Snowball for the file transfer. The correct answer is B. The S3 Multipart Upload API allows you to upload a single object as a set of parts. Each part is a contiguous portion of the object's data. You can upload these object parts independently and in any order. If transmission of any part fails, you can retransmit that part without affecting other parts. After all parts of your object are uploaded, Amazon S3 assembles these parts and creates the object. This is recommended for objects larger than 100 megabytes and is required for objects over 5 gigabytes. It significantly improves throughput by uploading parts in parallel. An application running on an Amazon EC2 instance needs to access an Amazon DynamoDB table. What is the most secure way to provide the EC2 instance with access to the table? Option A. Store AWS access key and secret key in the application's configuration file. Option B. Create an IAM user with DynamoDB permissions and hard-code the credentials. Option C. Assign an IAM role with the necessary permissions to the EC2 instance profile. Option D. Use an AWS Lambda function as a proxy to access DynamoDB. The correct answer is C. The most secure way to grant permissions to applications running on EC2 is by using IAM roles. By attaching an IAM role to an EC2 instance profile, AWS automatically provides temporary security credentials to the instance via the instance metadata service, IMDS. This eliminates the need to manage long-term credentials like access keys, secret keys, which could be leaked if hard-coded or stored in configuration files. A developer is using AWS Code Deploy to deploy an application to Amazon EC2. The developer wants to use a deployment type that shifts traffic from the old version to the new version in increments. Which deployment configuration should be used? Option A. All at once. Option B. In place. Option C. Canary. Option D. Blue, green with linear. The correct answer is D. A blue-green deployment with a linear configuration shifts traffic in equal increments with a set number of minutes between each increment. For example, code deploy default, Lambda linear 10% every 1 minute, shifts 10% of traffic every minute, until all traffic is shifted. This is a common requirement for DVA-C02 to understand how traffic shifting works in C/CD Pipelines. A company is migrating a legacy monolithic application to a microservices architecture on AWS. They want to use a serverless service to handle communication between microservices asynchronously. Which service is best suited for this? Option A. Amazon Kinesis Data Streams. Option B. Amazon Simple Queue Service, SQS. Option C. Amazon EC2. Option D. AWS Step Functions. The correct answer is B. Amazon SQS is a fully managed message queuing service that enables you to decouple and scale microservices, distributed systems, and serverless applications. It allows for asynchronous communication where a producer sends a message to a queue and a consumer processes it later. This is a fundamental pattern for microservices to ensure reliability and scalability. A developer needs to implement a caching layer for a DynamoDB table to reduce read latency from milliseconds to microseconds. Which AWS service should be used? Option A. Amazon ElastiCache for Memcached. Option B. Amazon ElastiCache for Redis. Option C. Amazon DynamoDB Accelerator, DAX. Option D. Amazon CloudFront. The correct answer is C. Amazon DynamoDB Accelerator, DAX, is a fully managed, highly available, in-memory cache for DynamoDB that delivers up to a 10x performance improvement. From milliseconds to microseconds, even at millions of requests per second. Unlike ElastiCache, DAX is API compatible with DynamoDB, meaning you don't need to rewrite your application logic to manage cache invalidation or data population. A Lambda function is consistently timing out after 3 seconds. The function processes data from an S3 bucket. Upon checking the logs, the developer sees no specific error code but the task timed out message. What should the developer do first? Option A. Increase the Lambda function's memory allocation. Option B. Increase the Lambda function's timeout setting in the configuration. Option C. Reduce the size of the S3 files being processed. Option D. Check if the Lambda function has the correct IAM permissions. The correct answer is B. The default timeout for an AWS Lambda function is 3 seconds. If a function consistently times out at exactly 3 seconds, it is highly likely that the workload simply requires more time than the default configuration allows. The first step is to increase the timeout setting up to 15 minutes. Increasing memory. Option A can also speed up processing. But if the task inherently takes 4 seconds, increasing memory might not solve the 3-second limit. An application needs to store sensitive database credentials. The developer wants to ensure the credentials are encrypted at rest and automatically rotated every 30 days. Which service should be used? Option A. AWS Systems Manager Parameter Store. Option B. AWS Secrets Manager. Option C. AWS KMS. Option D. Amazon S3 with SSE KMS. The correct answer is B. AWS Secrets Manager is specifically designed for managing, retrieving, and rotating secrets such as database credentials and API keys. Unlike Parameter Store, standard Secrets Manager has built-in integration with AWS Lambda to handle automatic rotation for services like RDS, Redshift, and DocumentDB. Which HTTP status code is returned when a DynamoDB request exceeds the allowed throughput for a table? Option A. 400 bad request. Option B. 403 forbidden. Option C. 404 not found. Option D. 400 provision throughput exceeded exception. The correct answer is D. When you exceed the provision throughput capacity for a DynamoDB table or a global secondary index, DynamoDB throttles the request and returns a 400 provision throughput exceeded exception. In the AWS SDK, this is typically handled by an exponential backoff algorithm. A developer is using an AWS Serverless application model (SAM) template to deploy a Lambda function. Which section of the SAM template is used to define the resource type AWS? Serverless function. Option A. Parameters. Option B. Resources. Option C. Globals. Option D. Outputs. The correct answer is B. In an AWS SAM or CloudFormation template, all infrastructure components, like Lambda functions, S3 buckets, or DynamoDB tables, must be defined under the Resources section. The Globals section can be used to define common configurations for all functions, but the declaration of the resource itself happens in Resources. A developer wants to track the number of 4xx errors generated by an application hosted on EC2 in CloudWatch. Which is the most efficient way to achieve this? Option A. Install the CloudWatch agent and configure it to send logs to CloudWatch logs. Then create a metric filter. Option B. Enable VPC flow logs and filter for 4xx traffic. Option C. Write a custom script that runs as a cron job and uses put metric data. Option D. Use CloudTrail to capture API errors. The correct answer is A. The CloudWatch agent can collect logs from an EC2 instance and stream them to CloudWatch logs. Once the logs are in CloudWatch, you can create a metric filter that searches for patterns, like the string 404 or 401, and increments a custom metric based on those occurrences. This is the standard way to turn log data into actionable metrics. A developer is using Amazon Kinesis data streams and notices that the consumers are falling behind. What is the most effective way to increase the processing throughput of the stream? Option A. Increase the retention period of the stream. Option B. Decrease the number of shards in the stream. Option C. Increase the number of shards in the stream. Option D. Use Kinesis data firehose instead. The correct answer is C. The throughput of an Amazon Kinesis data stream is determined by the number of shards. Each shard provides a fixed unit of capacity. 1 megabyte, sec in. 2 megabytes, sec out. If the consumers are falling behind, measured by the get records, iteratorage milliseconds metric, resharding the stream to increase the number of shards provides more parallel processing capacity. Which Amazon S3 feature should be used to provide temporary access to an object for a user who does not have AWS credentials? Option A. S3 bucket policies. Option B. S3 ACLs. Option C. S3 pre-signed URLs. Option D. IAM roles. The correct answer is C. S3 pre-signed URLs allow you to grant temporary access to objects in your S3 bucket. You use your own security credentials to generate a URL that is valid for a specific duration. Anyone with the URL can then download or upload an object without needing their own IAM user or AWS account. In AWS Elastic Beanstalk, which file is used to specify configuration changes, such as environment variables and software installations? In the EB extensions folder? Option A, config, YAML. Option B, app, JSON. Option C, a file with a config extension. Option D, ebextension.yml. The correct answer is C. Elastic Beanstalk looks for configuration files in a folder named ebextensions at the root of your application source code. These files must end in the config extension and follow the YAML or JSON format to customize the environment. A developer needs to implement authentication for a web application. The application should allow users to sign in through Google and Facebook. Which AWS service provides this functionality? Option A, IAM. Option B, Amazon Cognito User Pools. Option C, Amazon Cognito Identity Pools. Option D, AWS Directory Service. The correct answer is B. Amazon Cognito User Pools is a user directory that provides sign-up and sign-in options for your web and mobile app users. It supports social identity providers like Google, Facebook, and Amazon, as well as enterprise identity providers via SAML or OIDC. When using Amazon Cognito Identity Pools, what is the purpose of unauthenticated identities? Option A, to allow users to access AWS resources without logging in. Option B, to store user profile data for guests. Option C, to bypass IAM policies. Option D, to provide permanent credentials for developers. The correct answer is A. Amazon Cognito Identity Pools, federated identities, enable you to create unique identities for your users and federate them with identity providers. Unauthenticated identities allow you to grant guest access to specific AWS resources, such as allowing a user to download a sample file from S3 before they sign up for your app. A developer is observing high latency for a globally distributed web application. Which AWS service can be used to trace requests as they travel across multiple AWS services to identify bottlenecks? Option A, AWS CloudTrail. Option B, Amazon CloudWatch. Option C, AWS X-Ray. Option D, AWS Config. The correct answer is C. AWS X-Ray helps developers analyze and debug distributed applications, such as those built using a microservices architecture. With X-Ray, you can understand how your application and its underlying services are performing to identify and troubleshoot the root cause of performance issues and errors. A developer wants to use an AWS Lambda function to process events from an Amazon SQS. What is the maximum number of messages that the Lambda function can receive in a single batch? Option A, 1. Option B, 10. Option C, 100. Option D, 10,000. The correct answer is D. For SQS as an event source, the default batch size is 10. However, for standard queues, you can increase the batch size up to 10,000 messages. For FIFO queues, the maximum batch size is 10. Note that for large batch sizes, the function must be able to handle the volume within its execution timeout. A developer is refactoring an application to use a serverless database. Which AWS service provides a serverless relational database that automatically scales up and down? Option A, Amazon RDS. Option B, Amazon Redshift. Option C, Amazon Aurora Serverless. Option D, Amazon DynamoDB. The correct answer is C. Amazon Aurora Serverless is an on-demand, auto-scaling configuration for Amazon Aurora. It automatically starts up, shuts down, and scales capacity up or down based on your application's needs. While DynamoDB is serverless, it is NoSQL, not relational. Which DynamoDB operation allows you to read multiple items from a table based on the partition key value? Option A, get item. Option B, put item. Option C, query. Option D, scan. The correct answer is C. The query operation finds items based on primary key values. You can query any table or secondary index that has a composite primary key, a partition key and a sort key. Scan, on the other hand, reads every item in the table, which is much less efficient for large datasets. A developer is writing a Lambda function that needs to access a private RDS instance in a VPC. What configuration is required for the Lambda function? Option A. The Lambda function must be configured with VPC access, specifying subnets and security groups. Option B. The Lambda function must have a public IP address. Option C. The RDS instance must be moved to a public subnet. Option D. The Lambda function must use an IAM role with administrator access. The correct answer is A. To allow a Lambda function to access resources in a private VPC, you must provide VPC configuration information, subnet IDs and security group IDs in the Lambda function settings. This allows Lambda to create ENIS, elastic network interfaces, in the specified subnets to reach the RDS instance. When using AWS code build, where is the build specification, buildspec.iml, file typically stored? Option A. In an S3 bucket. Option B. In the root directory of the source code. Option C. In the AWS code build console settings. Option D. In a separate code commit repository. The correct answer is B. By default, AWS code build looks for a file named buildspec.iml in the root directory of your source code. The buildspec file defines the build commands and settings used by code build to run the build. A developer wants to implement a global secondary index, GSI, on a DynamoDB table. Which statement is true regarding GSIs? Option A. A GSI must have the same partition key as the table. Option B. A GSI can be created after the table is already created. Option C. A GSI only supports eventually consistent reads. Option D. A GSI has the same throughput as the base table. The correct answer is B. Global secondary indexes, GSIs, can be created at the same time you create a table. or they can be added to an existing table. This is a key difference from local secondary indexes, LSIs, which must be created at the same time as the table. GSIs also only support eventual consistency. A developer is using AWS step functions to orchestrate a workflow. What is the maximum execution time for a standard step functions workflow? Option A, 15 minutes. Option B, 1 hour. Option C, 1 year. Option D, indefinite. The correct answer is C. Standard workflows in AWS step functions can run for up to 1 year. This makes them suitable for long-running, auditable workflows. Express workflows, on the other hand, can run for up to 5 minutes and are intended for high-volume, short-duration tasks. Which CloudWatch feature allows you to visualize and monitor your application's health by grouping related resources and metrics together? Option A, CloudWatch alarms. Option B, CloudWatch logs. Option C, CloudWatch dashboards. Option D, CloudWatch events. The correct answer is C. CloudWatch dashboards are customizable pages in the CloudWatch console that you can use to monitor your resources in a single view, even those resources that are spread across different regions. A developer is using AWS CloudFormation to manage infrastructure. They want to prevent a specific resource from being deleted when the stack is deleted. Which attribute should be used? Option A, update replace policy. Option B, deletion policy. Option C, metadata. Option D, depends on. The correct answer is B. The deletion policy attribute allows you to specify how CloudFormation should handle a resource when its stack is deleted. You can set it to retain to keep the resource, or snapshot for resources like RDS or EBS to create a backup before deletion. An application needs to process a large volume of streaming data in real time and provide analytics. With SQL, which combination of services should be used? Option A, Kinesis data streams and Kinesis data analytics. Option B, SQS and Lambda. Option C, S3 and Athena. Option D, Kinesis data Firehose and Redshift. The correct answer is A. Kinesis data streams is used to ingest the streaming data, and Kinesis data analytics allows you to process that data in real time using standard SQL. This is the most efficient serverless way to perform real-time SQL analytics on streaming data. Which AWS service can be used to scan for security vulnerabilities in your Docker images stored in Amazon ECR? Option A, Amazon Inspector. Option B, Amazon Guard Duty. Option C, AWS Shield. Option D, Amazon Macie. The correct answer is A. Amazon Inspector is an automated vulnerability management service that continually scans AWS workloads, EC2, Lambda, and ECR for software vulnerabilities and unintended network exposure. ECR uses Amazon Inspector to provide image scanning. What is the primary benefit of using Amazon ElastiCache for an application? Option A, to provide persistent storage for data. Option B, to improve application performance by caching frequently accessed data in memory. Option C, to automate database schema migrations. Option D, To encrypt data at rest. The correct answer is B. Elasticache is an in-memory data store that reduces the load on primary databases and improves response times for read-heavy workloads by storing frequently accessed data in RAM. A developer needs to securely pass a database password to a Lambda function at runtime without hardcoding it. Which approach is the most cost-effective while maintaining security? Option A. Store it as an environment variable in the Lambda function. Option B. Store it as a secure string in AWS Systems Manager parameter store. Option C. Store it in AWS Secrets Manager. Option D. Store it in a text file in an S3 bucket with encryption. The correct answer is B. Both Secrets Manager and Systems Manager parameter store, secure string, are secure. However, parameter store is generally more cost-effective as it does not charge per secret for standard parameters, whereas Secrets Manager has a monthly fee per secret and a fee per API call. For a simple password, parameter store is often preferred for cost savings. A developer wants to implement an API that can handle high throughput and provides built-in throttling and authorization. Which AWS service is best suited for this? Option A. Application Load Balancer. Option B. Amazon API Gateway. Option C. Amazon Route 53. Option D. AWS App Sync. The correct answer is B. Amazon API Gateway is a fully managed service that makes it easy for developers to create, publish, maintain, monitor, and secure APIs at any scale. It includes features like throttling, caching, and integration with Cognito or Lambda authorizers for security. That's it for our 30-question deep dive into the AWS Certified Developer Associate DVA-C02 exam. If you found this helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe for more AWS certification content. For the full 65-question mock exams and detailed study material, check the link in the description below.